Now, whether you knew it or not, one of the hardest things I have to do making these videos week to week is dealing with the absolutely insane amount of pictures that go into making even just one of these videos, and that's even after I've kind of shifted my style to try and actually get my face and my voice out there more and more together as kind of a match set. It's no joke, every week I sift through hundreds and hundreds of pictures trying to find the best, most interesting, most high-quality comic book images I can to try and keep everyone's attention held. One of the more interesting things about that, too, is that every so often, I will end up stumbling upon a really cool image that I would love to put into the video, only to realize, you know what, that's not official comic book artwork, that's actually a fan work. In fact, I have seen so many great fan works over the years, I've been thinking that I should make a video like this kind of forever. In fact, this was almost an Elseworlds Exchange podcast video several times over. So yeah, with that in mind, everyone, sit back, relax, and let's take a look at some truly awesome works of comic book fan art. Now, I'm going to try my best to credit all the artists involved here. I don't want to leave anyone out for obvious reasons. They work hard. They should get the respect and recognition they deserve. I wasn't able to find the actual artists for all of the images I'm going to be using, so if you did something I'm going to be showing here, please let me know, and I will properly credit you down below, because again, I want to support the fan art community, and if this gets popular enough, hey, maybe I can feature more fan art later on. Maybe this can become a recurring series. Now, starting things off with a redesign that I see all the time out there back when I used to scroll through Pinterest before that became an AI slop nightmare. Maybe you've seen this one yourself. Of course, I'm talking about Tim Drake's gray ghost suit. This is from an artist called Hunker Down Sun, and I just love this one to death. I think this one is super cool, super striking. I love the use of the gray ghost name, which is of course a reference to the Adam West character, kind of like the shadow spirit-esque detective guy who he played in an episode of Batman the Animated Series, which I think everyone really loves and remembers. And I think this also is a great one because it kind of gives a solution to a problem I know that a lot of fans have had, and that is, hey, should Tim Drake remain Tim Drake forever, or much like Nightwing, much like Red Hood, should he eventually, grow up and adopt a brand new persona? Of course, he was Red Robin for a bit. I know people's opinions on that are split. He was Drake for a little bit in Bendis's Young Justice series. God, remember the brown suit? Remember the brown Tim Drake suit, everyone? I try and forget it, but every so often I remember that was a real thing. This is just a really well-realized suit. Hunker Down even goes the next step by actually breaking down all the individual pieces of the suit. I like that he has an emergency domino mask under the much bigger helmet, which is also gray. The fact that he has adopted gray as a color scheme not only just works from a name point of view, but I dig that he is not quite as dark as Batman, but perhaps not quite as, bright and flamboyant as other heroes. He is the gray in a sea of black and white. The cape can glide. It actually reminds me of Moon Knight quite a bit. He's got a harness for his bow staff and everything, his own utility belt and grapple gun, and we can actually see that the cape itself is almost kind of like a poncho. It comes down in the front and is much longer in the back. I really like this one. I think this one is super cool. This is definitely one of those instances of like, man, this fan art is so good. Could it please maybe one day be real? Pretty please? Now, keeping with the Batman theming, the next piece of fan art we have here is by Tom Hoskinson. I hope I'm saying that right, because this guy actually follows me on social media. I have been enjoying this guy's work for a very, very long time. This is from a whole series of artworks that he did, wherein he imagines different Batman villains, kind of filling the Batman void. I picked this one specifically because it's Two-Face. Again, if you listen to the Elseworlds Exchange, me and Sal for years pitched different versions of, hey, wouldn't it be interesting if Two-Face, went good? Wouldn't it be interesting if he tried to become a hero? In fact, I believe in Battle for the Cowl, he almost did become Batman for a hot second there. So the idea being, well, if he did become Batman, what would his suit look like? And I think this is a very, very cool take on that particular concept. I love the orange there. You don't really think of orange when you think of Batman. Short sleeves where he's got, kind of a, knee guard and an elbow pad there to kind of make him look a little less symmetrical. It's a very, very cool, very striking suit, one that I have always thoroughly enjoyed. This is also a Batman with guns, but he also seems to have a billy club in there as well. Again, Agent of Order, kind of being more like a cop man than a Batman. He also has a spiked pauldron and a spiked helmet, too. You know, it covers Two-Face's whole face, but he just cannot help but, you know, be a man, you know, divided against himself with two sides that don't fully match, even when he's wearing a mask. I think that's a very cool piece of character work and storytelling in the costume. Again, if this becomes a series, I will be sure to cover this guy's whole series because it's absolutely awesome. Follow him on social media. If you haven't, I promise you won't be disappointed. Now, from DC to Marvel, we have Wolverine by Iman Villalobos. I particularly like this one because of the, you know, brighter, softer pastel colors. You don't always see that when it comes to Wolverine. Usually they're trying to make him tough and dark and, you know, extreme and in your face. This is fun because it's a nice mashup of casual Wolverine and costume Wolverine. It feels like, you know, Wolverine is one of those characters who is so strong and so striking visually, it doesn't matter what he wears. You always know that it's Wolverine when you look at him, especially this version, as we can see with the white in his hair. This is actually like an old man version of Wolverine. I love that he's wearing cowboy boots. He wears the hat, but they don't always focus on the boots. I like that this is a lighter sort of denim for him, and the jacket that, of course, makes the X symbol on there, very Morrison-era X-Men. I don't know why I like this one so much, but I do. I would like to read a whole book in this particular style. It just really always stuck out to me of like, man, this is kind of cool. This is kind of fun, and it cuts a very interesting silhouette. As you'll know from following me for a long period of time, I am, of course, just obsessed with characters cutting a good silhouette, and I will probably say that about 100 more times in this video. And hey, speaking of silhouettes, and here is the Sinister Six by Alexei Efremov. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. This is one of those ones that I didn't think I would end up loving as much as I do, because, you know, there's a lot of factors in here that normally make me hate a piece of work, but it only actually made me fall more in love with this particular piece here. It's the Sinister Six, but they are rendered in like a very serious, very real-to-life, very believable, you know, kind of fashion to their costume. Normally, I'm a fan of, you know, the more colorful, eccentric, out there, you know, unrealistic costumes, but this one works because I think this is a really good case study in removing as many factors as you can, but also still making the characters recognizable through and through, mainly by, yeah, you guessed it, silhouette. You can tell Kraven is Kraven. You can tell Electro is Electro, Shocker is Shocker, Rhino is Rhino, Hobgoblin is Hobgoblin, etc., etc., just by looking at them. And I like the whole uniform. They're wearing orange. I can only assume this is like a prison team. They didn't just pick orange because, you know, it was their favorite color or anything. But I dig this. I could definitely see this as being used in a movie or a video game or something. I would like to hang out in the world of this piece of art a little bit more and see what they got going on here, because this is kind of a nice mix. This is, you know, comic books put through the realistic, you know, kaleidoscope, but done in a good way. Now, this next piece here is from an artist named Rick Sellis. You can see he actually put his name on here for Instagram. Thank you, Rick. I wish more people did this because it would make making this video way more easy for me. This isn't a particularly showy or over-the-top redesign. It's just, hey, it's Marionette and Mime from Doomsday Clock, but done in the Batman the Animated Series style, which, you know, I'm gonna love. Anything Batman the Animated Series instantly gets, you know, a thumbs up from me, and I particularly like this. I think he really captures the Bruce Timm Paul Dini-ness of it all. It's very fun, and just, yeah, I like it a lot. I like seeing newer comic characters rendered in this very classic style, and it just made me smile. I had a good time with it, and because of it, I wanted to share it with all of you out there. Now, from Batman to Daredevil, here is a Daredevil complete costume redesign by an artist calling himself Axis, I believe. And man, this is a really cool concept right here. If you remember, during the Mark Waid era of Daredevil, there was a whole time there when Matt Murdock didn't wear a costume at all, when his identity was outed and he didn't care and he ran around fighting crime anyway in a bright red suit. This is a beautiful mashup of casual Daredevil and more traditional costume-wearing Daredevil. I love the golden double D belt buckle. I love that his walking stick is actually being kind of used like a pimp cane here. Love the leather effect on the jacket on this one. He's wearing a tie because he's a lawyer and everything. In fact, the shade of red and even the design that kind of pulls up into a hood reminds me very much of the Ben Affleck movie, but actually in a good way. Again, I don't know what kind of world this Daredevil lives in, where, you know, casual heroes and superhero costuming kind of ram into each other, but much like the Wolverine piece, I kind of want to know more about this. This whole suit here tells a story, and I am dying to know what this particular story right here is. And hey, you know what? From Daredevil to the Punisher, this is a piece from Ruben Draws that, again, it kind of does a lot of things that I should really hate and that I should really be against. It's a kind of, you know, animatized take on the Punisher. Looks like a skin you would see from, like, a video game or something. He's got that Brock thing going on from Pokemon where there's, you know, so much dark under his eyes and it casts such a shadow it looks like his eyes are permanently closed. The skull is high-tech body armor. He's wearing high-tech boots. He's got high-tech lasers, and then the weirdest thing, he's got a bright red scarf like something out of Shinobi, and a mask. I should hate everything about this. This should stick in my craw, but damn it, if I didn't end up really kinda loving this one. Again, this feels like a Punisher Beyond concept, like a Punisher 2099, where you would see him running around in the background, or again, like a potential possible skin for like a Marvel Rivals or something. I should hate it. It does so many things that I normally don't like, and yet, damn it, I'm just won over by it. It's just so striking. I even love the scarf. I love that, you know, it's implying blood flying through the air. I just keep coming back to this one, and, you know, maybe other people will be as obsessed with this image as I am now. And while we're on the subject of the Punisher, let's go creatively to the completely opposite end of the spectrum. This is called the Spooktacular Punisher by an artist named Baga. And again, there's so much here I should hate, and yet I find it so deeply endearing. Again, the Punisher is wearing a mask. I don't think Frank Castle should ever wear a mask because I don't think he's a character who feels that he needs to hide his identity. He wants people to know that he's coming. He wants people to know that it's Frank. He doesn't deal with that same dichotomy that all the other characters out there deal with. Frank is the Punisher is Frank. They are indispensable from one another. He also has long hair with kind of a side cut there. This is interesting. I like that this is kind of a messy, unkempt take on the Punisher. You have to figure that, you know, this guy was in the military. He's very rigid, and even when he's out there killing people and, you know, living in flops and living off rations and everything, he still takes really good care of himself, Frank. You ever notice that? He's always shaved. He always has like a really proper haircut and everything. This is honestly a pretty terrifying take on Frank, where he is this unhinged crazy man who's letting his hair grow. I can only imagine his beard is equally as long under the suit. The actual Punisher logo itself is kind of interesting too. You can definitely see the John Bernthalian kind of inspiration here, where it's like splashed on with paint. It begs a really interesting question about Punisher, where it's like, yeah, where is he making his skull shirts? You know, is he going to the mall to get these printed up? Does he have like a template that he uses for everything? This Punisher also goes the extra mile to accessorize. He has brown in his gun belts and, you know, kind of on his holsters on his actual shoulders. That's cool, and the fact that the ammo pouches are white to help break up the black and to further match the suit itself is just a super, super cool idea. Then you have these inhuman red eyes. I don't know if this should ever be the main universe Punisher costume, but man, again, what a cool alternate universe that this suit right here is really implying. And again, there are so many ideas here. This almost feels like an absolute Punisher take, where it's like, yeah, what if Frank didn't care nearly as much about himself as he does, or wasn't nearly as rigid? I kind of love this one, and I think it serves as a nice counterpoint to the previous Punisher art. Now, on a similar bit, here is a Red Hood design from an artist named Patrick Lukic, and man, I can already tell people are thinking like, wow, really, Joel, you like this? This is so weird and bulky and strange. Yes, that is why I like it. I like that it is weird and bulky and strange. It casts, and say it with me now, a very unique silhouette. It also ends up bringing to light a problem that I never really considered with the Bat family and all of the different costumes in there, and that is, all of Batman's sidekicks who grow up and become heroes superheroes and take names of their own and everything, they all kind of are the exact same body type as Bruce, right? Tall, lanky, muscular, but not too muscular, dark hair, dark eyes. This is interesting because this Red Hood design right here implies like, oh, what if the Bat family all looked a little bit more unique in terms of body type, and, you know, what could you actually learn about their characters just by looking at their costumes? I dig that this is a very no-frills approach to a superhero costume. This is bulky and utilitarian and not particularly pretty or flashy, and it's like, well, yeah, why would Jason be those things? He is muscle over mind. He is, you know, kind of this battering ram force of nature, so why should his costume not end up, reflecting that? I really dig this. I don't know if this artist did any more. If you're out there, Patrick, let me know. I would like to see your other stuff, especially if it also follows this same design philosophy, assuming that that is what you actually had intended, and I'm not just reading a world into this like, you know, every stuffy head-up-their-ass art critic does. And no, I am not done talking about Red Hood yet, because here is another piece by Oatman Drew. This is specifically cool if you know Jason Todd and Red Hood's publication history, because this costume tells a hell of a story. For one, it is white and red, which means that it is actually drawing a lot of inspiration from the Grant Morrison Jason Todd design when he had kind of just came back and kind of started being a villain again. People forget that costume was white, black, and red, and I really, really dig what's being done here. He has a big long coat now instead of a short coat. The trench coat is kind of giving the impression of a cape, which makes me feel that, like, oh, this is a Jason who has maybe come closer to the Bat family now. He's not afraid of a cape as kind of a signifier. It's white, light, and bright, too, perhaps implying that, you know, this is a slightly more heroic, maybe more mature take on Jason at a different point in his life now where he's not afraid to run from these things. I love everything about it. It's got a case of long neck. Again, I think that might just be an art thing there, but it really feels like he has a long, long neck here, and maybe they didn't want to give him like a giant, massive D-bag collar that was turned up or something, but if it was up to me, my only note is I would maybe play around with the collar, maybe make the collar look like bat ears or something, like, oh, he doesn't wear it, but he's still kind of carrying Batman around with him, even while not intending. I dig the hell out of this one. I know they just redesigned Red Hood's costume not that long ago, but if they redesigned it again, they could probably stand to steal a couple ideas from this. Not that they should, though. They should give all the credit to the artists who do the work. But this is a fun one. I like this one, especially as, you know, a counterpoint to the Red Hood suit we just saw. Now, this next one here is a Saber-tooth piece. This one was kind of actually really hard to track down where the artist is. The signature here says, I think, Luis Puzo. Hard to tell. I did a search, and I don't think this guy actually has any social media. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I got this one off Pinterest, and I'm a big Saber-tooth fan, and I feel he's gotten a lot of actually really good character redesigns over the years, but this one especially I found striking, and this one definitely stuck out to me. I love that he's kind of got the hair on his arms like those old X-Men action figures back in the day. He's got kind of like a little black X on his belt line there, but no actual belt itself. Again, I like the implication that maybe this is a Victor who's calmed down a little bit, maybe joined the X-Men potentially. I like that he's got the bracers in the brown, which is a reference to, you know, his other costume, which is yellow and brown, and keeps the fur around the collar. It always drives me crazy when Saber-tooth loses the fur around the collar, because that is such a cool effect. He's got the mutton chops. He doesn't have the wild unkempt hair. He's cut it down a little bit. I like this one a lot. I think this one is very cool. It, again, cuts a nice silhouette. It's not overly complicated. That's another thing about these fan arts, where some of them are absolutely amazing and mind-blowing. I know full well that a lot of these could probably never make it to the comic book page month to month, because, artists would break their wrists trying to render all of this, and God help you if they had to be drawn in another book in someone else's style. But this is a goodie. This is a goodie. I like this one. And hey, you know what? Speaking of extravagant, speaking of, artists who, would probably have a hard time pulling this off in anyone's style but the original, this is a modern kind of take on Harley Quinn and the Joker by an artist called Easedeath. Again, has a very, very big following online. I freaking love this. This is Joker and Harley if they had that shit on, if they ate and left absolutely no crumbs. This is beautiful. I love the pinstripes. I love the suspenders. I love that he's wearing a little white bow tie. I love that they're wearing fur. Again, if you watch that old Elseworlds Exchange episode where Sal and I talk about the history of Joker's, many looks and many costumes over the years, we never talked about where they could potentially be going next, but I love this take to death right here. I think this is super cool. I love the green nail polish on his fingers that I am just now noticing. This is wicked awesome. This is super cool. Joker should be allowed to wear more fur. I'm just going to say that right now for everyone out there. This is a great, great costume. Oh, but guess what? We're not even done talking about the Joker yet, because the same artist also did this piece right here, of course, heavily inspired by the Joker in The Batman. Well, I say in The Batman, more like the deleted scene from The Batman that, now I think we all just kind of assume to be canon. And this is so cool because it's like an evolution. It's a study in what this character could potentially look like in the new movie, or maybe in some, expanded media. And goddamn, I love what's going into this here. I love that he looks extra shabby and homeless. I love that his boots don't match. I love that he is wearing the Arkham prison actual shirt under his other shirt. I love that in the other ones he's got even bigger, more clownish appearance to his clothes there. Another one where he's got a trench coat that he's spray painted on and everything. The little tufts of hair and everything. One where he looks a little bit more menacing. One where he looks a little bit more jolly and happy. This is just super cool. If I was designing an animated series or something and I wanted some, work done, I would definitely look up this guy here, because he's got it, man. He's got it. I don't know what it is, but he's got the touch. He's got the juice. And man, this is, again, just one of many great pieces that this particular artist has done. Check them out. Like I said, big social media following right now. If you like this, definitely check out, because I get the feeling this person is going places. Now, hey, remember for that split second there when the comics implied that maybe Damian Wayne was actually Deathstroke Slade Wilson's son instead of Bruce Wayne? Yeah, me neither, but this artist definitely remembered, because they put together a whole brand new Deathstroke-inspired costume for Damian, and man, this is sweet. This is really cool. I love the black, dark gray, and orange. They really pop and play off each other. I love that he's got a big coat and a headpiece that, very much reminds me of Naruto. He's got a boxer's headpiece and some swords going on there. This is really awesome right here. Even his logo has changed. It's not an R anymore. It's like a little shuriken. This feels like a kind of character evolution that Damian Wayne could definitely go through if he didn't want to be Robin anymore. I feel like this is a costume that he could 100% rock with a new code name. Again, it's a shame that I couldn't actually get the artist's official name on this one. It only comes back to a Pinterest page. I don't know if it's been re-uploaded or not. If you know the artist, please let me know, because this is great stuff. It's also part of a bigger series where we actually see Robin with Deathstroke himself. What a fun piece of art for a pretty forgettable time in Robin's history. Next up, we have some Spider-Man art here. This is from an artist calling themselves Walter38 over on DeviantArt. This is the Chameleon done in kind of an exaggerated across the Spider-Verse style, and oh man, this is so slick and so cool. I love that in this version, the character actually is a real chameleon, not just a spy who can change himself via technology. Love the pimp coat, love the martini. It's very, very 007. This isn't even one of the best ones they did. There's another one where the coat is longer and he's got a big fedora hat. This is cool. This is my jam right here. If they ever update the Chameleon, I would hope they would go in a super fun direction like this, because this is just wonderfully striking. Now after that, we have a young Dr. Octopus from Artist Unknown. This looks to be, again, part of a bigger art project. He's said to be young, mid-20s, genius, but still has a lot to learn. Prototype arms with prototype power supplies, and man, I love the theory that goes into these arms here, that they have exposed wires and everything, that they look a little junky because it's the first set that Doc Ock ever made. I love the actual suit itself as it references the color scheme of, original Dr. Octopus here, but also being fresh and new and something ultimately kind of cosplayable. This is really awesome right here. Again, if they ever did, you know, a de-aging story, like turning Dr. Octopus young again and maybe letting him try again, be a good guy, or trying to start his life over from scratch, I could see them doing something like this. This is just super slick, super fun, super creative, and something that I wouldn't even consider doing. I love young prototype Doc Ock, and I'm glad that I could share it with all of you. Now, I saved some absolute biggies for last. This is part of a much bigger Teen Titans redesign from an artist called Paluxury. And again, thank you for actually signing your work. I love your little logo. Here is his take on Beast Boy, and man, this is just eye-poppingly gorgeous right here. I mean, look at this. He's got the black and purple suit, obviously indicative of, you know, classic Beast Boy costumes, but also reminding me a lot of the Teen Titans cartoon. That's all great. That's all just a really well-done version of Beast Boy, but it's the jacket and the gloves and the shoes. This is Teen Titans through the lens of, you know, like Japanese J-pop street culture, street fashion wear, which I guess has always kind of been part of the characters. Again, since that original Teen Titans cartoon, this is stunning. This is absolutely beautiful from top to bottom, and the best part is that this is just one of a whole set. Let's look at Cyborg next. Vic, again, similarly looks great. It's not a huge departure from how he actually looks in the comics most of the time. I love that he's got this kind of orange vest that breaks up the teal, blue, and white. It really pops. It really makes him look cool, gives him his own sense of flavor and attitude similar to Beast Boy. More than anything, though, again, I love how they chose to render the robotics on this one. It's kind of boxy. It's kind of bulky, and I dig that because, again, different characters should cast different silhouettes, and also in a world as big and vast and technologically advanced as the DC Universe is, characters should have their own unique take on how, you know, robot parts are. You know, Silas Stone would be different than Will Magnus, etc., etc., and I like that this feels so unique. I'm getting almost like a Big Guy and Rusty thing off it, and man, this is so freaking awesome. This is an artist who I would very much love to see draw their own Titans one day, because there are just so many great ideas at work here. And finally, the last piece of fan art I want to talk to you all about today is The Joker Who Never Smiles from an artist called The Noodle, I do believe. This is great for several reasons. One, it's an absolutely awesome take on the Joker. It's a great redesign, but also it's kind of a very funny piss take as well. The Joker Who Never Smiles is basically the inverse alternate version of the Batman Who Laughs, and what would that be like? Yeah, it would be a Joker with a wrought iron jaw that is absolutely sealed shut so he could never smile and laugh, which, wait, who did that to him? Did he do that to himself? I love that his hair looks like little batarangs. It's not quite purple, but a very dark shade of blue. He is wearing a suit jacket with a tie that, again, also looks very bat-like, but a coat that looks like a jester's hat with a bunch of different jingling bells on it so you would hear him before you see him. Big, almost Mickey Mouse-esque gloves on it, a crazy look in his eye. This is awesome. This is another instance of, damn, I wish I could crawl around in your head. I wish I could see the world that this comes from. And in fact, this piece of art here is so good, it actually inspired me even more for what we're going to talk about next week, everyone on the show. Oh yes, that's right, I'm doing fun little stingers now. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this salute to fan art. I know I've had this idea in my back pocket forever. Thank you for all the artists who did this. Again, if you are a fan artist and want me to feature something down the line, if this video is popular, I hope to turn this into a series, because man, who doesn't love talking about cool fan art, man? Who doesn't love talking about cool concepts and designs? And if this does take off, hopefully this will become a major thing on the channel. But until then, everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will be back again next week. Same Cape time, same Cape place. Bye-bye.